Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome back to the channel for another update on Bitcoin and Solana daily. It's Chinese New Year today, I've got some plans later, so let's fly right through this video. Not too much has happened, but as always, we'll discuss what's happening with Bitcoin, Solana, and even finish off with a tiny segment on Kadena. So let's dive right into the news as always. Starting off with the news for Solana. Now, we've been talking about this recently with ReDAO and Sol Incinerator, but there's been a lot of platforms, a lot of dApps built on Solana recently, built around the fact that you can reclaim your Sol, burn your rugged NFTs and reclaim those gas fees, and even incinerate those C NFTs, basically scam NFTs. Because of these recent developments with platforms like Sol Incinerator, which we recently covered on the channel, we even discussed how to do a cleanup and reclaim a ton of Sol. I did this on, a bunch of my different wallets throughout Phantom, and claimed, a nice amount of money back, which is very nice. Now, since these new platforms have been coming out, specifically with Sol Incinerator, the weekly number of Sol Incinerator users and the monthly Sol Incinerator users, basically the amount of burns that are happening on the network, are hitting new all-time highs. This Twitter account, Slorg of the Slugs, is the person who's behind the Sol Slugs NFT project and the Sol Incinerator project, and he's recently come out and said that tomorrow they're going to be unveiling the final part of their strategy to combat these scam NFTs, which I honestly can't wait for. There's hundreds of these in all of my wallets. I recently downloaded the Backpack wallet just because of how many new airdrops have been happening in Solana, so I just want to make sure I'm using all the dApps, all the wallets that I can in case there's an airdrop for something specific. I also just wanted to test what the hype behind Backpack is and see if it's comparable to Phantom. So far, definitely not, but it's worth downloading and having just a random burner wallet on there just in case they do an airdrop. Now, I literally created this wallet like 2 days ago, and as you can see, I'm already plagued with scam NFTs, so I'm looking forward to this and I'll keep you up to date. Moving on to the Bitcoin front, quiet as always, but the little bit of news that we do have is very nice. Coming over to BitMEX Research, looking at the Bitcoin ETF flows, yesterday on the 8th of February, we had a total inflow of 405 million across the spot ETFs. That is very nice. Now, GBTC, this is the one we've mainly been looking at. We've been detailing the outflows that have been happening, and we've been talking about how they've been decreasing over time. Yesterday, they were at 101.6 million, so still sitting around about that 100 mark. That was definitely made up yesterday by 204 million worth of inflows from BlackRock, 128 million from Fidelity, and 60 million from Bitwise, 86.4 million from ARK. Very nice on the ETF front. Moving into the price action on the daily time frame, Bitcoin, Solana, Kadena, like I've been saying, do not fade the 50 TMA strategy. We gave you an update on this 2 days ago saying we had a bullish close at 44,300 and long was confirmed on the 50 TMA strategy. This was after getting squeezed on the EMA ribbons, getting squeezed underneath the 50 TMA and just about holding support at the bottom of this diamond top formation. And ever since then, we've just been blasting to the upside. Now, what I thoroughly like about this move is, as I discussed before, if we are looking at the stochastic RSI on the daily time frame, like I said, a little bit tight for time today, so I'm going to zoom through it. But, we've got a double top on the stochastic RSI, which if you don't backtest the data sounds kind of bad, but as we backtested the data in previous videos, often these double tops in the stochastic RSI mean that you're just going to start jerking back up to the upside. So on the daily time frame, the fact that the stock has kind of reset around about 80 and is beginning to push up tells me, like I've been telling you in the last few videos, we're probably going to go parabolic for the next few days or the week or so. Now, on the weekly time frame as well, what I like about this move is, once again, everything's kind of lining up. We've held the 50 TMA as support. We've got a bullish engulfing candle above it. We've had that bull signal on the 50 TMA. Weekly time frame stochastic RSI has already reset after the correction from 49.5 down to 38,500. So the weekly stock is telling me that, we're probably in this kind of situation over here, where we've had this bullish engulfing candle above this previous top, and we're probably just going to expect continuation for the next couple of weeks or so. Almost all of the levels that I need to see to kind of let us know that Bitcoin's going to come up to our CME target have been hit. In our previous videos, we talked about 3 targets to keep your eyes on. The 618 fib, that was 45,000. We've broken it. The next level was this ascending line of support flipped as resistance, 45,500. We've flipped it. So like I said in the previous video, if we get above this, this is going to look like a failed move equals a fast move in the opposite direction, also known as an SFP, a swing failure pattern. And the final target to invalidate this diamond top formation is to get above 49,000. Ladies and gentlemen, as of the time of recording this video, we're only about $1,000 away. So do I think we're going to get continuation? Yes. Do I think we're coming up to my price target that I've been talking about, the CME gap all the way up here at 53,400? Absolutely yes. Now, at which point, just because of all the news that's happening right now, because the charts are fully reset, because the total spot ETF inflows are starting to become larger numbers, like 150 million a day, 405 million a day, I think we're going to continue to see these grow, especially as GBTC's outflows near zero. I think it's very, very likely that my price target at 53,600 is going to be conservative, and we might even zoom up to the 786 Fibonacci at 58,000. Now, I'm not going to talk about it in today's video. We've detailed in previous videos how, of course, 2 out of 3 times in terms of the halvings, you do tend to have a pre-halving correction or a post-halving correction. So that's kind of exactly what I think is going to happen. I think Bitcoin gets continuation up to around about 58,000. I think coming into the halving, you know, it's somewhat priced in. Obviously, miners getting their rewards halved, you can't really price that in, but the actual Bitcoin halving event, you know, that is pretty much going to be priced in. The only thing that you can't really price in is going to be the change in supply, and then subsequently the supply and demand function kind of, you know, changes around a little bit. We have a new norm and the price adjusts higher because of the halving. So I still think we go higher within the next few weeks, within the next month or so, and then we'll have to, you know, readjust and look at the time frames, look at the charts as we get closer to the halving. But at least in the short term, 53,600, the CME gap, and the 786 fib all the way up here at 58,000. That is what I've got my eyes on. Now, in terms of Solana, Solana is zooming up to the upside. It was all doom and gloom just down here at $95 when the Solana network got turned off for a whole 4 hours. Solana fudders came out in full effect saying, you know, oh, you know, the network is down, blah, blah, blah. You know, ADA or Kadena is so much better, and then boom, you know, we're back to becoming, you know, the top performing asset once again. Solana is zooming to the upside. We've also, like we detailed, the same thing with Bitcoin. We've got that bullish close above the 50 TMA. The 50 TMA strategy gave you a long signal at $101.23, and it's currently at $105.87. So looking very nice. Now, what I want to detail is previously in my last video for Bitcoin and Solana Daily, we were talking about a potential new Elliott wave count. Now, this was from the bottom down here, since we found that local low at $80 when we came down to the bottom of this bull flag and then broke to the upside. Now, this is the bottom down here at $80. If you zoom out, you can see, you know, this was the top of the wave. This was like a macro ABC, and now we've started that next 5 wave, in my opinion. So this was wave 1. It's already complete. You know, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these waves were very, very clear. Over here, you can see we had a very clear ABC correction. Now, what I talked about in my previous video is the fact that potentially somewhere around here, potentially maybe 105, we could be having like a, you know, a wave 3 top out. However, the correction was nothing. You know, this is really not a correction in my opinion. I don't really see this as a correctory wave. I kind of see this as an impulse to the upside, consolidation, another impulse, another higher low. Now, of course, you know, the local lows down here on the waves, wave 2 and 4, have to create higher lows anyway, but it has to create a higher low in some instance. It has to break some sort of lower time frame trend in order to have a correctory wave, and it just didn't do that. So in my opinion, we haven't even seen the top of wave 3 yet. So what I previously talked about is, you know, keep your eyes on the 618 fib at $108.14. At this moment in time, considering how we haven't even had the correctory wave, I think wave 3 ends up going a little bit higher. I think it's very, very likely that, you know, wave 3 kind of, let's say it comes up to $110, $116, somewhere around that region. And then with wave 4, we might see a retest of that previous high around about 106, or even the 618 at $108. And then at which point, wave 5, this gives wave 5 a lot more room to go to the upside. And where do I think wave 5 could potentially go? I think wave 5 could potentially go above this previous yearly top, well, year-to-date top, $126.49. That's where I've got my eyes on for this local wave count for Solana. Now, this could be complete within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something around this time frame, maybe even in the next week or so. So bear in mind, we're on the 2-hour time frame here, so we're no longer looking at the daily or the weekly. These are the microwave counts. So within, I'd say give it another 1 or 2 weeks, and then we're probably going to be back up at this yearly high around about $126, at which point I wouldn't be surprised if we exceed it. Let's say we come up to the 1.236, $137.97. So wave 1 was right here, wave 2 was right here. Let's say wave 3 comes all the way up to the 1.236, $137, wave 3. Wave 4 with that ABC correction might retest that previous yearly high at 126. That would be wave 4. And then let's say wave 5 takes us to these massively higher price targets we've been talking about, not new all-time highs, but in terms of, at least we're looking at a microwave count. We have to be realistic with what's going to happen within the next few weeks to 2 months or so. So at which point, if we kind of finish these waves up to the upside and kind of get to the apex of, wave 5, then the 618 fib around about $166, that could potentially be where I see that next local top forming for Solana before a healthier retrace, and then, obviously a correction back down to the downside with a higher low. Now, very quickly wrapping up today's video, Kadena. Should I make a weekend update on this? We've got a little bit of a busy schedule, especially over the weekend. So I think, especially with Bitcoin and Solana Daily, Bitcoin and Solana Daily might be a Monday to Friday series. And over the weekend, I could potentially try and get at least, one update out over Saturday, Sunday. However, Kadena, it's an interesting place right now. In terms of the US dollar, it really, really needs to get above the 50 TMA. That's $1.14. If we do manage to get above that level, then we could be getting ready for a blast to the upside against the US dollar, not necessarily against Bitcoin or Solana. The 50 TMA is very important though. We have had a bearish confirmation on this at $1.08. This took you all the way down to 93 cents. However, since then, we've really formed out this falling wedge pattern. We've broken to the upside. So for Kadena, you really need to keep your eyes on this level round about here, $1.14. If we start closing daily candle bodies above the 50 TMA, look at what happened to Solana on the daily time frame once we managed to close a daily candle above the 50 TMA. We were at 101, now we're at 106. Look at Bitcoin. We closed the daily candle at 44,300, now we're at 48,000. So if the same thing happens for Kadena against the US dollar, it could do very, very well. As for price targets in the immediate short term, let's keep our eyes on the 50 TMA. I could potentially put a new video out over the weekend. Let me know if you want that in the comment section down below. However, I will just point out, Kadena is still very, very weak against its Bitcoin and Solana pair. This is KDA against Bitcoin. Now, if you put a gun to my head and, told me what kind of market we were in for this chart, I'd say we're probably still in a bear market. Now, that can change. I do think, like I've been saying in my videos, let's come over to Ethereum very, very, very quickly because I really need to get going. I need to go to the gym. Then I've got plans for Chinese New Year. So if we're looking at the ETH chart over here, this was the alt season that we saw back in the 2020-2021 bull run phase. Now, this fractal looks very, very similar. So if ETH starts popping up to the upside, then yeah, I also think Kadena could do very, very well. And in terms of Kadena against Solana, there's a lot of potential leg room that it could make to the upside. This is Solana priced against KDA. I don't think we're at that inflection point at this moment in time because just like Solana against the US dollar is doing very well, this is Solana against KDA. It's doing very, very nice. It's up over 10x from the lows. So, a lot of people might be looking at Kadena and saying, hey, Kadena has done a 3x since the lows. However, Solana has done a 10x against Kadena, even though Kadena has done a 3x against the lows. So there are other altcoins which I'm more so focused on. If you could tell by my channel recently, I'm much more focused on Bitcoin and Solana, mainly because Bitcoin is the blue chip. Solana is also coming a blue chip in my opinion, and I think it's just got a lot more potential in the immediate short term. So there's a few things that I would want to talk about in a new update. Let me know if you want to see that. Anyway, for today, my friends, I have to be getting going. Hope you enjoyed the update. As always, if you did, smash the like button, smash the comment button, share the videos with your friends. If you want to further support the channel, click that join button on YouTube, become a member today. Potentially see you over the weekend. It's been your boy Cowboy Trades. I am out. Peace.